Mike Pfeiffer again. We're going to do video 39. Video 39 is probably going to be a little bit on the drastic end of the scale for news to a lot of you. The first thing we're going to talk about is, if you look behind me here, I have a lot of things cleaned off the layout, and we're going to discuss that here in just a minute, as well as another major change. Let's get started. Well, some of you all might remember a little short guy that helps me with a lot of these videos here. Goes by the name of Mr. G. Happens to be Gavin, my grandson, alias. He's been talking to me long and hard here about changing to BNSF from Santa Fe. And I've come to the conclusion that that's probably a better idea for me to do, because about 90% of the time his equipment is out here on the layout anyway. So I figure if you can't beat them, join them. That being said, let me move forward and discuss a little bit about how we're going to go about that and exactly what I'm going to do out here, and then we'll get into what I've been doing here. Well, when I say we're changing to BNSF, what we're going to do is basically the layout isn't changing at all. I will be replacing a few dated, period-dated structures on the layout to conform a little more to the modern theme, and we'll be doing a little more modern stuff. Obviously, BNSF era, it'll be modern, more modern. A lot of the old gas stations, the ghost town and everything, they're still applicable today because a lot of that stuff is still around. Some of the industries that we were already making plans for on the new switching portion may be changed. Quite some time ago, I gave up the idea of having an ice dock here. Of course, we would never have an ice dock in this day and age. But basically, all it's going to require is just a change in some of the equipment. And I already have some modern equipment. You guys have seen me run a little bit of it out here. It's not BNSF. However, it is BNSF era. And I've already gotten a SD40-2 BN locomotive that I've patched and into BNSF. And I think I'm going to take my modern Santa Fe stuff and patch a lot of it into BNSF. As far as the very new modern BNSF stuff, I think I'll just go ahead and let Gavin keep his equipment, and we'll use his equipment out here because he's got quite a bit of it. He's got 20 or so locomotives, and one of every paint scheme there is in BNSF he has to have. So anyways, we have plenty of equipment. We have plenty of modern rolling stock, more modern rolling stock. We're not going to get into intermodal stuff. We're not going to get into that. It's all going to be BNSF local freight, similar to what we see in this area here. But we are going to go more modern. The other day I pulled off all of the, well, let's get to something else here. What I'm doing right now is I've decided, after I got done with all the helix construction and everything, I'm going to clean the layout. I had a lot of dust, sawdust, just regular dust, everything. Layout has not been cleaned in 6 years, 7 years, whatever it is. So you can imagine the accumulation of dust, in particular on the shelf that's up here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but you've seen it in other videos. I've already started doing some of that. I've pulled anything loose off the layout, including automobiles, which brings me back to changing era. When I pulled the automobiles off, of course, all the automobiles I have are 50s and 60s era and earlier. When I started pulling them off, I never gave it a thought or realized that I had over 200 vehicles out here on this layout. It didn't look like it, but there were. I talked to Robin, and I thought about selling a few of them, selling some of my older rolling stock and locomotives and everything, and then it was brought up to my attention that that would be a ridiculous idea. Because at some point in time, if he loses interest in BNSF, or I do, and we want to go back and do Santa Fe, you don't have to rebuy all this stuff. You know, you already have it. It's not like you need to get rid of it, so I'm going to hang on to it instead of just thinning stuff down. There may be a few things that I get rid of just because I don't like the way they run, or I have multiples of them that I don't really need, and so forth. but that remains to be seen. Rolling stock, I'll probably keep it all the early stuff that I have, because I've already done that once. I've weeded out a lot of the stuff I don't like. So anyway, that being said, that's where we're going, the whole BNSF theme, and I actually have already started cleaning here. Now, back to the shelf that I mentioned up here, and saying it hadn't been cleaned in about 6 years. When I got up there, which it's hard to reach, but when I got up there, you could tell there must have been a quarter of an inch of dirt up there. What I'm going to do, or at least my plan is, it has been, because I've already started, is to break out my compressor. I turned it down to about 30 pounds of air. I've tried to blow everything off. I've already, you guys have seen the airplanes up here. I've already blown off all the dust on the airplanes, blown off all the knickknacks around on the top, cleaned the shelf up above, dusted everything, actually took those models that are up there down. I found a model up there I didn't even know I still had built up there. But anyway, took some stuff down from up there, wiped all that off, cleaned all that off, made sure my little Chico up there is clean, which is kind of a rare item from the Santa Fe, a little keepsake. But anyways, dusted off all my HO cars. Basically everything above the skyboard I've already dusted and pretty much thoroughly cleaned. I have gone around and blown off the top of the buildings and so forth, and done some of the scenery, blown off some of the scenery. What it tends to do is just blow, it gets rid of the dust, but it blows any scenery material that's not attached down, it blows it to another location. So I do have a lot of that that's sort of loose out here. I was kind of surprised I didn't lose any of my people I've glued down, at least that I'm aware of yet. Just some scenery that should have been glued down and probably wasn't. Nothing major, just basically ground cover stuff. But so far so good. I am going to, after I get all the buildings blown off and everything, then I'm going to go back with the vacuum, which I haven't done yet, and vacuum all the roads, vacuum all the track areas, and that'll probably be it. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but behind me here in the mountains, when I blew off all the pine trees, I was surprised they're still green. They were really looking gray, and it was amazing as I blew off the trees how much dirt came off of the trees and stuff back here, and now it looks like a green forest again. So anyways, let me get started, and if there's anything I need to add to this besides what I'm doing, I'll kind of show you. Maybe I'll take the camera off, and as I go, I'll take a few little short clips and show you where we stand here, and that'll probably be it for video 39. Okay guys, like I had said in the intro, there's not much that I can show you here other than you can see all the vehicles stripped off, a lot of the buildings stripped off. And I think even in these videos here, it shows up that the buildings are much more vibrant in color now that the dirt is all blown off them. I'm going to go back down here to the city. I do have a little bit of vacuuming and stuff to do back in there because I couldn't get, I just wanted to blow the stuff around in a circle, so I got to get in there and actually vacuum up the specific areas. But anyway, nothing new here. Kind of useless really just to pan around here. But I think you can get the idea that all the stuff has been removed, and this just kind of gives you an idea of what the railroad looks like semi-naked with all the cars and everything off it. The only thing that's new, actually new since the last video, is I did do some pavement work, here around the gas station, and did put in some plaster and color some plaster, put in a bridge here. Mr. G is happy. He weathered that bridge, and then I cut it up and used the sides of it to make this curved bridge that goes to the unobtainium mine. I did get the sawmill building set in there. Got the oil distributor pretty much in there. Got the oil tank made there with its moat. I did work on the road back there. I didn't do a super job of detailing the road because eventually you will hardly be able to see it back there. But it is connected back in. My bridge still looks like poop because I haven't got all the plaster and stuff off it. Haven't done any reballasting of track or anything. I did paint some rail. but I haven't ballasted track. Anyway, you kind of get the idea. I put in, I think that little retaining wall was in the last video. Nothing much new. Like I said, the forest really looks green now as opposed to brown. I did get some water put in. I built the stream there. I haven't done any foliage up to the edge of the stream. I also had put in a waterfall, didn't like the result, so I took the waterfall out. I'll rework the waterfall. You can see the water goes down along the other side of the track, basically underneath, and comes out down here underneath the trestle. That's really about it. So I think for today, as far as the video 39 goes, I'm just going to wrap it up and get back to finishing my housekeeping. Today I'm the maid. Well, guys, there you go. As you can see, I've just done a little bit of things since the video 38, and not much new going on other than the stripping of the layout. And I've got some buildings boxed down here, as you saw, and like I said, all my vehicles off. I forgot to mention too that I have been accumulating some more modern era vehicles as well. Obviously, and those of you who do model contemporary, they are a little bit harder to come by than the early automobiles, trucks, and so forth. I'm finding it kind of hard to find that stuff, and having to pay a premium price for some of the old Atlas and Fairmonts and things from the 70s and 80s and so forth. But that's the way it goes. I mean, that's the fun of the hobby, is trying to chase down things that you're looking for. But anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping in and taking a look, and I'm always glad to have you guys stop by. Shout out to Vinny and Eric over in Tucson. Sorry to hear about the hobby shop over there closing, Roy's. I hate it, when a place, a nostalgic place such as that, goes out of business. But I guess that's just what happens in this day and age. But anyways, shout out to all those guys and everybody over there in Tucson that's treated us good. And I hope you guys come back and watch the video again. And we'll just talk to you later. Thanks for coming by.